Ayman Khan here for SecondsOut. Pleasure to be joined by Ben Shalom. Ben, we'll get straight into the topic of conversation, of course. Yeah, Whittaker versus Cameron. I just want to say there were some whispers about some contention at the weigh-in in the morning. Was there any controversy surrounding Ben Whittaker making the weight?
No. Made it really well. Looks really good. Excited. Been a long journey, long promotion. Both of them look good. Both of them very confident. I'm looking forward to Ben Whittaker putting on a statement.
For someone who, for some of the boxing public, has some doubts as to the injury that caused the end of the fight and some doubts as to where Ben can get to, what are you expecting to see from him early in the rematch?
Well, I don't think it's just about early. I think in the fight he's going to just be too much. He's too good. He's too talented, and he's worked hard, and he's put in a proper camp. And Camp's gone really well. And for me, having Andy Lee in his corner is very important for a fighter like Ben Whittaker. If you think about the pressure that's on his shoulders in such an early stage of his career, the attention, the criticism, the everything, you need a trainer that's experienced in his corner. I think that's going to be a big difference now. You have someone that's been there and done it that he trusts, and that's really important. And so I'm really excited. He's really relaxed, really confident, and he can't wait to shut everyone up.
Was there any part of you that wanted to, in the conversation around the 10 and 12 rounds, potentially call the bluff and look to replace Liam Cameron for this fight week? And why was the decision made to eventually pay Cameron some money?
Look, we agreed to pay him some money from the start. I think, if I'm honest, it was an issue that I think they wanted to take out into the media just to cause as much disruption as possible, and that was it. For us, it was always going to get sorted out. We had agreed to sort it out a few weeks ago, or at least 3 weeks ago, and that was it, and we thought it was done. But look, fun and games are done now. Of course, we had to have a replacement opponent in case they pulled him out or something happened, but we're here. This was the fight that we wanted. This is the fight that is really going to explode on Sunday, and you take sort of Ben Whittaker's profile to another level, if that's even possible.
So what the figure was that you had to pay to get Liam to agree?
Contractually, I can't say the figure, but it wasn't unfair. The fight has become so big now that if anything, it's good to see Liam Cameron get paid for it, because it really is a massive fight. The tickets have sold crazy. Easter Sunday viewing figures are going to be pretty special, and I have no qualms about paying Liam Cameron good money. We've given him his 2 highest paydays. I have a good relationship with him, and it was more about the promoters.
Outside of just the significance of winning the rematch against Liam Cameron, it seemed like Ben Whittaker was on and all set for a path towards America. He had the Peacock deal, and he was potentially going to debut over in America after the planned victory from his perspective against Liam Cameron. Is there more on stake potentially for Ben, if he wins, to get that back on and get the US path open? Absolutely.
Look, clearly after the Liam Cameron incident, we had to rematch Liam Cameron, and so I think it was a great time, I think, in Ben's life that he'll look back on and be really grateful it happened. Sometimes when things are going so well and too well, and all the bright lights and all the opportunities and all the money and all the deals and all the commercials sometimes get in the way of this is a brutal sport and to focus. And so the States will always be there for Ben. He does absolutely huge numbers. He's a global star, one of one really that this country looks like it's about to produce. And of course, if he wins on Sunday, the world is his oyster, and especially now with the team and everything set up.
I watched the gloves are off between him, Liam, and Johnny Nelson. Johnny tried to pin him down on what actually was the injury. Now, of course, on record, he trivialised it and didn't want to say anything. But I just wonder, behind the scenes, did you ask him? Did you get an answer that satisfies you that that's not an issue? There's no quit in Ben Whittaker, which has been thrown towards him?
Absolutely not. Look, he took some time out the ring afterwards. He had to deal with his injury, but he also had to deal with the swarm of media attention that follows his career, and when the performance doesn't go your way, you have to deal with it. There were a lot of weight issues on the week, and it just was a difficult moment in his career, no doubt. But that produces comebacks, and that produces a resetting of his mindset and where he's at. But no, I'm extremely confident, extremely happy with where he's at, extremely proud as well, if I'm honest. Given what he's had to go through. People forget these guys are human beings and young guys as well. And very proud of him, and can't wait for him to do the business on Sunday.
Frazier's made the decision to continue on with his career, and he said, look, in the sparring and after the loss to Fabio Wardley, he had some dark days, but he's picked himself back up and he wants to continue his career. Tete is obviously here to get that confidence back up, but what do you want to see from Frazier if he's to get back up the ladder?
Look, I'd want to see a big performance, and hopefully he gets rid of any of those, any overhanging concerns over what happened. What happened to him was a stark reminder of what can happen in heavyweight boxing. But Frazier's one of the most popular heavyweights that we have in this country. He can be involved in some absolutely huge nights, and he's a very talented boxer. For me, should have won that first fight against Fabio Wardley. And now we get this fight with Tete, who could cause him problems, cause Dillian Whyte problems, but will definitely show us where Frazer Clarke's at. And then it's back for the British title for me. The winner of TKB against Adelaide is the fight that I hope will be next.
Lee Cutler versus Sam Edgington seems like it could be the show-stealing fight of the night. What do you think about that fight?
Great fight. Lee Cutler, that performance against Stevie McKenna was absolutely ridiculous. I thought he was down 5-6 rounds in, and I couldn't see a way back. Stevie looked as though he was getting stronger, and somehow he just had the energy and the heart and the desire that he was fighting for his career. That's what it felt like. It was unbelievable to see. And for him to come back and do what he did, it was very emotional. It shows how much is on the line in British boxing. So to now be getting the fight with Sam Edgington, who is also looking for his renaissance in his career, it's just a phenomenal fight because of the way they both fight. It's fireworks. It's the reason it's chief support on Sunday night, but the card in general from top to bottom, starting with Bradley Goldsmith to Elliot Weld against Lucas Ballingall to Mark Jeffers to Tyler Denny against Elvis Algara to Frazer Clarke against Tete. It's an unbelievable card, and we're going to do some massive numbers on Sunday night.
Let's get into the topic of conversation surrounding Eubank Sr.'s comments, and I guess...
Was that you?
Yes. Well, a number of outlets did speak to Eubank Sr., but
the big one.
Well, I'll let you set the table, because I did watch some conversations previously you had with other outlets, Stomping Ground, I think, as well. Pretty disappointed, actually, by some of the questions and the answers there from that interview. But what was your feeling and take from that interview that upset you, I guess?
I think it's the background of what the family's been through that obviously has a huge effect psychologically on people. And we all have tragedies and we all have problems. And I think we've known about that. I think most people in boxing have known there's been some problems. And so it's an emotional topic to talk about when he's there with in that environment. So I just felt that side of things was slightly insensitive. But the main thing that I took objection to was the comments towards Junior. I've worked with Junior now for a while. He's an exemplary role model. He's an unbelievable professional. His dad should be extremely proud of him and the way that he carries himself. And that's where I was disappointed. But personal things for me stay out the media. We all have them. They aren't always great. You don't want them overspilling. And I know he's got a famous father, but he's got a massive fight next week that's about Chris Eubank Jr. And so that's the main focus for me. He's in a really good place. He's going to win next week. And I hope we are talking about the fight next week, not family situations.
From my point of view, like obviously it was a public event which was invited to. I didn't know Eubank Sr. was going to turn up. It wasn't like TMZ putting a camera in his face, asking for an interview. Other more experienced journalists had asked the question before I'd even got to Eubank Sr. But it just seems a little bit convenient that having said and wanted and hoped that Eubank Sr. would be in the corner for the fight, and then he's categorically said he doesn't want to be in the corner, then the suggestion that he's unwell comes up from yourself. If you've hoped that he's...
No. So I want him. I would have liked him to be there as a dad, not part of the promotional team, not part of it as a training team. Chris is his own man and has all that.
If you feel he's unwell, why would you want him to be there?
I would have liked Chris, as I would like you or my friend here or Conor, to have a good relationship with their dad, which would imply that they would be supporting at events. Nothing to do with the boxing. Of course, it would have been nice, but if you look back at interviews, I've not been the one calling for it. I've not been the one pushing it at all. I just want them to have a good relationship as a friend, if anything. In regards to the fight, it's got nothing to do with the fight, and I just don't like seeing those things play out in public, because it can't be nice for people who are connected or people involved. And yeah, maybe we can't blame anyone for that, but that's why I don't want this to become such a thing, because it's a personal thing. and I think that should remain personal.
I get that, but from my point of view, I was just following through the questions of yourself and Eddie Hearn, who'd said that they wanted him to be present at the fight.
I think I've talked about it less. Of course, I'd like him to have a good relationship with his father, regardless of this fight or any fight, but understood. I understand.
Eubank Jr. made a nice gesture in following through with his commitment to pay for the expenses of camps, having the first fight fallen out. Your thoughts on that gesture, and would you be inclined to match that gesture, Ben?
What as a third-party promoter, when Chris Eubank Jr. says something, he does it, good or bad, and that's what he's always done. I knew he was going to do it. I've seen people say, why has he gone public? What's he trying to say? He's gone public to make a point and to try and encourage others. And that's it. Maybe the promoters involved with the event, which I do think it was suggested would match that. But yeah, Chris is a good guy and does a lot behind the scenes. That was something that's public and hopefully encourages others to do so. But yeah, proud of him.
Just getting the taps of think you're being whisked away, but thank you for speaking to SecondsOut. Looking forward to this fight. Well, do you want to continue?
No, can I just say, it's great to see you, Ayman. You're going to be first interview post-fight tomorrow.
See if you keep to your word. Ben Shalom.
Right.
Thanks for speaking to SecondsOut.